Yes, indeed. What's happening, world? B March Boxing was goody with y'all, man. We back at it with another boxing video. Alexander Usyk, Derek Chisora, they aiming for what? I think the 23rd of May. Will that fight even happen because of all this coronavirus stuff? You know what I mean? Who knows, you know? I want to make a breakdown and prediction sooner than later, but let's get into this one video I got right quick, man. I personally think there's a possibility that Derek Chisora and Alexander Usyk will be fighting for a vacant WBO title. You know what I mean? Yeah, whoever wins this fight will be in line, will be the mandatory challenger for, it will be the mandated WBO challenger for Anthony Joshua's WBO title. You know what I mean? Alexander Usyk 17 and 0, 13 KOs. You know what I mean? Um, and it's looking like he wants to fight, and he's kind of upset that the man Eddie Hearn is trying to bypass him or basically look over him in order to make a fight between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury for undisputed. You know what I mean? Provided that Anthony Joshua, of course, gets past to Kubrat Pulev sometime in this summer, I think in June. Okay, so the only way that Alexander Usyk and Chisora can get that fight happening for a vacant title. You know what I'm saying? And, that would mean Anthony Joshua would have to give the man Alexander Usyk some step aside money. If he doesn't have to drop his belt, he'd have to give the man Usyk some step aside money. You know what I mean? And would Usyk agree to a step aside fee? Would he? Or the WBO letting Joshua take a unification fight with Tyson Fury over the mandated fight versus Usyk. From what I've always known in boxing, what everybody be saying, oh, what you call it, mandatories. I'm sorry, unifications trump mandatories. Well, sometimes it's not that easy. You know what I mean, I think when the sanctioning bodies have something to gain up out of it, they might let it pass. You know what I mean? But besides that, if they want whomever is going to make the most money. That's what the sanctioning bodies are about. They want that 3% from the guy who makes the biggest purses. They basically poachers, vultures, and scavengers of the game. The sanctioning bodies are bad news. You know what I mean? That's exactly what they are. You check it. So, like I said, the man Usyk, he's not keen on the man Anthony Joshua fighting Tyson Fury before him. You know what I mean? And if all goes Alexander Usyk's way, if he does beat Chisora in May, then more than likely he will be the Mando. Not more than likely, he should be the Mando for Anthony Joshua for a fight in December. You know what I mean? Provided both guys win their preliminary fights. You know what I mean? Derek Chisora, of course, he's trying to upset the apple cart. He'd love to get a piece of that WBO title or even beat Alexander Usyk to face his friend, a guy that he spars with, Anthony Joshua. You know what I mean? A guy Anthony Joshua, I think, looks up to in some sort of sense, somehow, some way. Maybe he was there going to the gym before he was even a champion and sparring with guys like Chisora. You know what I mean? But this is definitely Chisora's one of his last opportunities to gain big purses to be in any meaningful fights, whether it's with Usyk, by beating Usyk, and or fighting for the vacant title if the man Anthony Joshua does decide to vacate. You know what I'm saying? So he's in a position where he's in a win-win position, but he has to get through Alexander Usyk first and foremost if he wants to even exceed the most riches he's ever achieved in boxing as far as one night of his biggest payday in prize fighting. But Alexander Usyk, he wants his mandated title shot against Anthony Joshua, you know what I mean? And that's all the man Usyk has been talking about. You check it, you know what I mean? Joshua might want to bypass him to face Fury, and we can understand why. The world does want to see undisputed, right? But the man Alexander Usyk, he's trying to get himself an opportunity to fight the man what's his name, AJ, even before Fury. You know what I mean? First and foremost, Fury's never really been interested in fighting Usyk. He never really considered him, right? And if let's say Anthony Joshua and Fury does happen in these, let's say the for whatever reason, let's say the unification does trump the mandatory, and Fury and Joshua get to fight in December. If Fury wins that fight, that's a big payday out the window for a guy like Alexander Usyk. The money fight is if he fights Anthony Joshua, you know what I mean? And that's what he really wants, you know what I'm saying? I think that what Alexander Usyk wants right now is two things: win a vacant title, that's cool with him, and or get to fight Anthony Joshua and live with the results. Win, lose, or draw, don't matter. It's a big payday. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So um, I'm gonna read you some quotes from the man from Tyson. What's his name? From Alexander Usyk. Uh, Quote from Alexander Usyk. Quote: I don't care what he's going to bring, and okay, let me start from here. Quote: I didn't see weakness. I didn't see slowness in him, and I just took that fight because I needed the fight. I want the fight, and I'm going to be boxing on this May 23rd fight against Derek Chisora. I don't care what he's going to bring, and I worry about what I'm going to bring into the ring, and I'm going to bring a lot. I want very much Anthony Joshua will win. End quote. That's Alexander Usyk when they asked him about who does he think's going to win between Anthony Joshua and Kubra Pulev. You know what I'm saying? Um, this is what the man Alexander Usyk said about the man Eddie Hearn, or basically what he was taught, basically about Deontay Wilder and Eddie Hearn. Okay, for about Deontay Wilder, he said, "Quote: I wasn't surprised because after the third round, I saw where it was going. Everything where went where it was supposed to. I like the way he acts. I like the way he prepares himself, but I think everything is planned." End quote. That's what Usyk's saying about Fury. Quote: A lot of people think he's playing dummy, but everything is organized and planned. When he says about him beating me with one arm tied behind his back, I can cover my eyes and tie one of my hands and hold one of my legs. I'm going to find and smash Eddie Hearn because he's talking like that. Of course they're talking about it because it's two British guys. They're more popular than I am here. Of course, the promotion would be a crazy idea, but I am going to do what I need to do. I'm going to go on my road. End quote. Derek Chisora says about Alexander Usyk, quote, he got the golden ticket, so I want to take his golden ticket. Basically, everything I'm going to do is for me to take what he has and make it mine. I believe the way he can win this fight is by knocking me out, but that's not going to happen. I'm going to keep coming and keep coming. End quote. So there's a lot of variables in this particular fight, man. And that's why, when I read this article, you know what I mean, the kind of pressure that Alexander Usyk is putting on Eddie Hearn, his promoter right about now. You know what I mean? And then Anthony Joshua, he really wants to fight Anthony Joshua. I think stylistically it's a bad matchup style for the man Anthony Joshua, you know. Anthony Joshua, it's obvious, has struggled with guys who are shorter than him, right? His best performances have been guys, even though he went life and death with guys like Klitschko, Dominic Brazil, big guys like Takam Povetkin, even Joseph Parker and Andy Ruiz have given this guy all kinds of trouble. You know what I mean? Alexander Usyk is a smaller guy, 6'3". He's gonna be smaller than AJ, but he's much better than all those guys that he's fought, as far as smaller guys from Takam to Andy Ruiz to Povetkin, etc. I think he got the skills to pay the bills. Punching power, I'm not so sure. He didn't look too great against that Witherspoon guy that he fought, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a difficult matchup for Anthony Joshua, you know what I mean? So I really think I wouldn't be surprised if Anthony Joshua does vacate the title. in order not to have to deal with anything that Alexander Usyk is bringing to the table. You know what I mean? He'd much rather fight the man Tyson Fury. That's a big payday. Stylistically, I also think that's a bad matchup for Anthony Joshua. You know what I mean? Tyson Fury versus AJ. It's a bad matchup. You know what I mean? So Anthony Joshua projected for 2020, he's supposed to fight his WBA mandatory. I'm sorry, the WBO man. What do you call it? IBF mandatory and Kubra Pulev. If he beats him, then he has to fulfill his WBO mandatory obligations, and that's Alexander Usyk. But Alexander Usyk, all he's been hearing is Eddie Hearn, his promoter, trying to make a fight for undisputed between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. Personally, I'm always for guys getting their title shot, especially when well deserved. You know what I mean? I'd love to see undisputed between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. But we heard Tyson Fury say, but we've heard Tyson Fury say it even before he won his world titles, that he's not fighting Anthony Joshua, even if he beats Deontay Wilder. Why? Because there's going to be a rematch, a third fight. You know what I mean? And I don't know if the man Tyson Fury will be ready to fight if he fights Wilder this year. I don't think he'll be ready to fight a Anthony Joshua in 2020, even if, let's say, they do bypass the mandatory for the WBO and promise Alexander Usyk that he'll get he'll be the first in line for the winner of the undisputed fight. I don't see that happening no time soon, you know what I mean? But I do see Alexander Usyk being a world champion vacant style by winning a vacant WBO title, you know what I mean? I really do see that happening. Uh, let's say Anthony Joshua, let's say the eliminated does go on with I'm sorry, with Chisora and Usyk. And let's say Chisora wins. Man, the world will be upset. Nobody wants to see that fight. At the end of the day, can you even trust Derek Chisora to come and bring the pain to a guy like a guy whom he spars with in Anthony Joshua? You know what I mean? That'll be friendly warfare and not warfare like they're gonna go to war. I think it's gonna be that's not what we're gonna want to see, and I think Derek Chisora will just be happy to be there, and especially for the big payday. Alexander Usyk, I think, has destiny to fulfill. You know what I mean? I've heard some people on these YouTube streets say he's the greatest cruiserweight of all time. You guys are ridiculous. That man Alexander Usyk don't got no Carlos De Leon on his resume. He don't have no Dwight Muhammad Kawi, a Hall of Famer, on his resume. If you don't know who those guys are, please don't compare those guys with no Breedis or Murat Gassiev or Kawanaki, etc. Let's not do that, you know what I mean? We can't do that. The man Alexander Usyk is not the greatest cruiserweight of all time. He's never even I've heard some people say he's better than Holyfield. He's never even achieved a heavyweight title, but he's in position to, and I'm pretty sure. I can't say I'm pretty sure, man. I can't say that because even a guy like Lomachenko, he's not about legacy right about now. He's about just collecting belts and not fighting the best of the best. You know what I mean? If Lomachenko was really about legacy, he would have never accepted no franchise title, and he would have fought all comers. You know what I mean? So I can't say I'm pretty sure that Alexander Usyk is all about legacy right about now. He might be following in the steps of his countryman Lomachenko. You know what I mean? But if he wants to eclipse or be anywhere, or even be in the same sentence, cruiserweight or heavyweight as Evander Holyfield, he got to start his destiny and his path to destiny right now. You know what I mean? And Derek Chisora is in his way, whether that's for a vacant WBO title or a WBO eliminator. Time will tell, but I do believe that I think that the man Anthony Joshua would rather vacate the WBO title than face Alexander Usyk, and he'd rather face Tyson Fury for the big money. Be Marsh Boxing. Leave your thoughts and comments. Let me know what y'all think about this video, and I'm out of here. Peace. And let me know in the comment section if you think that the man AJ will vacate the title, or do you think there will be a WBO eliminator, or will the title be on the line for Chisora versus Usyk? I'm gone. Peace.